Hey, back for another video. How's everybody doing? It's late for me. As you can see, I have put on my glasses. I'm getting ready for bed. But I wanted to jump back on here because I originally was going to go live and I was having some issues with my computer. So obviously I couldn't go live. So I ended up going live on my phone, left out a lot of details. So I was like, I need to jump back on there because I really want to dissect this last episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. As I stated in my previous video, I normally do not do videos on housewives, but when I watched this last video, I was triggered, like seriously. So I was like, you know what? Let me go on there and speak about it. So I want to go over some of the points that I missed in my original video because, I went back and watched my video and I'm like, girl, you left off a lot of stuff. So I wanted to come back on here. Usually, when I come on, I need to have some notes. So I had some notes, but I just, I left off a lot of stuff. So I just wanted to come back on here and take it a little bit slower, go through my notes. So let's just jump right in, okay? And if you hear that beeping, as I said, spoke to y'all before, if y'all watched the last video, that is my alarm, child. I'm going to get a ladder at some point and get up there. But anyways, so let's get into it. So when they started off the episode, I'm not going to get into the Drew. I know she was meeting with, somebody about her, whatever she was, meeting about. I don't really want to talk about Drew. I don't think she had much going on. So we're just going to not even mention her. So let's talk about the part where we had Sanya and Sheree, and they was getting their, cryptotherapy. It's kind of like freeze therapy. I've had it before. You kind of go in that enclosure where it's like freaking cold. They give you that robe. I did it before. They said that helps with inflammation and different things like that. And I know Sanya, by her being an athlete, she spoke about, she would sit in a tub full of ice water. So they kind of talked about, had conversation about, some of the stuff that had, went on. And then at the same time, you had Kenya. I'm sorry, not Kenya. You had Kandi and Sanya, which were meeting at Kandi's restaurant, the OLG. And they were just having a conversation, and Kandi was saying that, she felt like Sanya was riding the fence. Basically her way of saying, girl, you're not picking a side. And I know we spoke about that in the last video, which is basically telling her, hey, in so many words, Kandi is telling Sanya, you need to pick a side, or her side is really what she's saying. So Sanya was, basically saying, that she didn't want Kandi to feel slighted, by her relationship with Marlo. And what I can say, though, when I went back and looked, I actually really like Sanya now. At first, it was kind of like, I don't know. I like Sanya for pretty much holding her own, for not feeling the pressure or feeling like, hey, I got to take a side. Because keep in mind, I don't know, who's watched The Real Housewives from the beginning. I watched it from episode 1. And, at that time, they were all friends. I would watch the show because I like looking at their homes. I liked looking at their fashion. I actually like seeing, minority couples living, such a nice life. So that's why I would tune in. And I love seeing, their homes. But, based on how Kandi is actually presenting things to Sanya, is basically like, hey girl, you either gonna be with me or you gonna be with her, which is childish. The show cannot really move on in a positive way if they're divided, right? So that's not gonna work. So again, Sanya was basically saying that, she didn't want Kandi to feel slighted, but she likes Marlo and she doesn't want to pick a side, which I totally understood what Sanya was saying. And I applaud her for, standing up to Kandi, unlike the other minions. Of course, Kandi starts crying. like she does in all of the episodes. Well, not all of the episodes, but you know what I'm saying. She's so emotional, and she's always crying, which is kind of leading me to believe that, does this girl just bust out crying for sympathy? Why is she always crying, but then on the other hand, she want to drag people and do all this crazy stuff? Like she threatened Courtney a few episodes in episode 1, season 15. And then if you pay attention, Kandi is crying, but then in the same breath she's cussing. So I'm just like side eyeing Kandi, because something is just not right with her. Okay, first you're crying and then you're cursing all in the same breath. And then Kandi goes on to mention that she's not an emotional person. And as I said in my previous video, if you're not emotional but you're always crying, what exactly is happening here? Is it that you're not an emotional person and these are fake tears? I don't know. So that's what Kandi is saying. She is saying that she's not an emotional person. Okay. So they, go on to speak about Sheree's Gucci event invitation, and then saying is reading it to her, basically, talking about, the invitation, and, that she had Kandi receive the invitation, and, if she was going, whatever. Then they flip back over to Marlo and Courtney. At that time, they're talking, and Courtney is just asking Marlo, like, what took you so long, or why didn't you mention this to Kandi in the beginning? And Marlo's response was she hadn't saw Kandi. So I don't know about that when she said, because I also want to be fair too. But when Marlo says that she didn't see Kandi, I would assume that there is more to that, and maybe it had been cut out or something, but we all know that she had to see her. So my only guess is maybe she meant, that she hadn't saw her, and, the situation had not presented itself where she could actually, mention that, but I mean, we know that she had saw her. So I don't know what the explanation would have been for her not mention it to Kandi earlier, but I know the fact, when she says she didn't see her, maybe that, maybe she just didn't mean that. And then we saw a scene with Kenya going to a doctor, talking about her incubated eggs and, her sperm and all of that. One thing for me with Kenya, I don't feel sympathy for Kenya, and I'm going to tell you why. She is a ugly person. From what I've saw, her soul is ugly. She says nasty things to people, and I just don't have a soft spot for Kenya. So when I see her visiting, talking about her eggs and wanting to, have a second child with her husband that we never saw the wedding, but the man that she's going through a divorce with, that she never talks about on camera with him. So she's talking about that, and then she mentions not wanting her children to have separate dads. Okay, I totally get it. I felt the same way. But being a full adult and possibly Kenya's age, her skin looks older than me, but anyways, I would, if I had to do it all over again, I don't think it would matter. I mean, if if your children have different fathers, it doesn't really change anything. If you find, a good person and you want to have children or a child with this person, I don't think it really matters. But the thing of it is Kenya, why do you want to have a child with someone that you are not with? Like, you are clearly going through a divorce. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And also, why does she have this man's sperm and all of that? Like, what is really going on with that relationship? That's a whole nother video. But yeah. And also, allegedly, Kenya has never even met Mark's parents. So let's talk about that. So there's a lot of weirdness going on with her relationship with her husband. People say, it's an arranged marriage, allegedly. But the fact that she has never met his parents is a little weird to me. Also, the fact that she has his sperm is very weird, because if that's your husband, why do you need to keep his sperm, and then to say that they've already agreed that if they get a divorce that she can keep it? I think that's very weird that you would want to have a baby by a man that you're not with. When I'm done with you, I'm done. And if it was a way we can return the kids, I'd probably return. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so let's talk about Sheree's Gucci event. Obviously, they sit down, they're having small talk. The girls enter, one by one, or however they do it. So Sheree gives this speech about them coming together. She sheds a few tears about, how their, relationships are fractured, which I totally understand. And thankful to Sheree to be able to pull that together, because that is definitely needed. If they're going to move forward with this show, at some point they're going to have to move past their differences, right? Sanya has stated her and Kandi are over the argument. Kandi stated she was... Okay, I'm sorry. Let me redo that. So Sanya stated or mentioned, or whoever, I'm mumbling now, but with regards to Kandi and Courtney, they had talked about, obviously, that they had gotten over their argument. It was obviously, something that had happened, and they had moved forward, which is great, right? So Courtney and Kandi, they're good. Sanya now, she's speaking to Kenya about, like, hey, Kenya, basically, I would love to have a friendship with you. And obviously, Kenya, being the nasty, bad skin person that she is, she just states she doesn't trust Sanya, which it's like, okay, Kenya, but the reason that you don't trust her is because Sanya gave an interview. And keep in mind, guys, this is a reality show. They throw small shade, little shade. They do that. Obviously, they're on a reality show. They're in interviews and things like that. But at this time, Sanya was on, Watch What Happens Live with Andy. And Sanya stated that she didn't know if Kenya butt was fake or real. Well, how would she have that information? And she just sniggled. But come on now, that's really not something to be so uptight about. And she just said that, Sanya stated that she felt like she had been a consistent friend to Kenya, but she felt like at her husband's party that Kenya was kind of cold and very distant, which is, understandable. Sanya also stated, when Kenya had the event in Birmingham, and we all saw this because it was taped, that Kenya actually told Sanya that she can leave. I mean, we saw this, but Kenya is, acting really weird and, having an attitude and saying, well, I don't trust you because of what you said. No, baby, Kenya doesn't trust Sanya because her and Kandi is in an alliance, and they have an attitude with Sanya because she is befriending Marlo, and they want Sanya to go against Marlo, which is really high school. And I spoke about that in my other video. And then Kenya just blurts out like a high school girl with bad skin, which she does have bad skin. Kenya blurts out, basically, you're being loyal. You're not being loyal to me, but you're being loyal to her, which is Marlo. And then she states that Marlo is really dead wrong, and basically Sanya goes along with Marlo. Okay, let's unpack that. That's real childish. If Sanya wants to have a friendship with Marlo, why is that a problem for you? If I befriend somebody and they have a friendship with somebody I don't like, that's not a problem for me. Kenya needs to go and build her relationship with her mother. If she doesn't want to build her relationship with her mother, she needs to get therapy so that she can find healing. Something is wrong with that woman. She is very harsh, hard, very mean, and very nasty. That's just my take on Kenya. So after Sanya and Kenya, they've had this conversation. It's kind of over, and then Kenya goes, Sanya states that, basically she stands on her own. She just doesn't want to be in the middle of it and would just like to build her relationship with Kenya independent of Marlo, which I totally applaud Sanya for. I got so much respect for Sanya for standing on her own. And then Kenya states, I would just see how you move. Okay. So that's how that went. So in terms of, moving forward, then Sanya states to basically Kenya, Kandi, and Drew, because that's the new alliance. And so Sanya stated, between the ladies, the group of ladies, which she was talking about those three, and she says, how did they intend to resolve the matter with Marlo, right? And then Marlo speaks. Basically, Marlo just, basically says that, she has no problem respecting the ladies, regardless of any, disagreement. She can be in a room with them. She can be around them. And, she's going to respect them. Of course, Kenya, the childish one, it actually Drew and Kenya is very childish. Kenya gets really sarcastic and then mentions Marlo and says that Marlo can't really build the friendships up because she's evil. Now that shocked me to my core, being that I've watched this show since season 1, and Kenya is the most evilest person on this show. Like, I'm just like, really, Kenya, you got into it with pretty much everybody, and she's just a real nasty person. So then Kandi is, because Marlo is speaking, and then Kandi is making faces. Drew is mumbling under her breath, and Kenya is pretty much acting like she want to throw up. She's like, while Marlo is speaking. So it's just like, really, like, girl, like, why y'all acting like high school girls at this point? So Marlo cannot even talk. And then, when Marlo is trying to talk, because now she's, trying to talk loud, she's trying to project herself, Kenya starts yelling, lies, lies, lies. And I'm just like, really, girl? So then, at some point, Marlo is projecting, and now she's able to talk, and now her and Kandi is talking loud enough where they can hear each other. And then Marlo is questioning Candy's friendship. And then now it becomes like, again, Marlo can't talk again because now they're talking loud. And at this point, I think Marlo is like over it. Marlo is like, you know what? I gotta go to the bathroom. Like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. So Marlo gets up. She's gonna go to the bathroom. And then this is the part that I was like, I need to get on live and talk about this. And this is part of the reason why I wanted to come back and kind of talk about this, is because Marlo calls Kenya a bitch, and says basically, I don't need to respect you, bottom beep. And it's just like, what? And then she's back and just continue to call her the B word. And I'm just like, this is so ghetto. Like, Kenya, really, girl? Are you acting like this? Miss America, Miss USA, or whoever you are. Like, what is all of this for? I get it. They do get into arguments, where they're cussing each other out. But come on, girl. Get you some class, Kenya, girl. Get you some class. And it's just like, at this point, I'm just like, what? Like, Kenya is calling Marlo the B, bottom run B, multiple times. You have Drew, you know, doing all. It's just like, I'm just like, at this point, I'm just turned off. Like, really, Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is like Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And then at this point, Marlo exits, and Marlo is like, listen, you know, she's saying, you know, like, with my, you know, therapist or with my life coach, you know, I was told, you know, if I feel like I'm losing control to leave. So she left, which was good for her, because if she would have hit Kenya, you remember when what's her name, Portia, drug her off that couch because Kenya was blowing what was that horn in Portia's face. Kenya provokes people. She provokes people, and that's why Portia did that to her. Now, why would you keep calling this lady a B? Then said that she was for a bag. I mean, calling Marlo every name in the book. I was like, OMG. So it was really, really, really bad. It was really bad. So at this point, Marlo has exited the venue. She's like, I'm out of here. Sheree, you know, goes back out and says, you know, Marlo, come back in. You know, I want you to come back in. And, you know, at this point, Marlo is like, absolutely not. Kenya is being too disrespectful. She's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So Sheree is like, you know, it's fine. You don't need to talk to her. And I really appreciate Sheree for stepping up and taking the leadership in that situation, because stuff was just going crazy. Like, nobody was really speaking up for Marlo. It was basically Kenya, Acne Face, Kandi the bully, and Drew the minion, basically all ganging up on one person. Now, these are grown women. Like, are you kidding me right now? So Sheree basically stood up, you know, for Marlo, brought Marlo back in. Kenya is still running her big mouth. You know, Marlo comes back in. Kenya is still running her mouth. Girl, shut up. Go find your husband, okay? Kenya, go find your husband, girl. Your husband. Is that your husband? But anyway, so she brings Kenya back. She brings Marlo back in. And, you know, Kenya is still calling Marlo a effing B and all of that. And finally, Sheree is like, Kenya, she does not want to talk to you. Basically, I'm gonna need you to be quiet. Let her talk to Kandi. And I'm just thankful that Kenya shut up and she respected that, because it was like, girl, at this point, can you please shut up, or we're gonna go get Portia. If you don't be quiet, Kenya, we're gonna go get Portia. You know you scared of Portia, okay? So they bring Marlo back in. So it was like super crazy. Boy, that was crazy. So, once Marlo comes back in, they're talking again. Of course, Kandi wants to be in control of everything. She wants everybody to just not like Marlo, because, you got to do whatever she say, And so at this point, Sanya is trying to explain to Kandi what Sanya said is, she said, Kandi, Marlo, this is what Marlo has stated. And she says, Kandi, what I believe the issue is that Marlo was really upset because she wanted to receive some kind of flowers. I don't remember exactly, and I didn't write it down exactly, the verbiage between them, the exchange. But then Kandi gets upset and basically tells Sanya to stop talking for Marlo. Hold up, Kandi. Kenya and Drew has been talking for you the entire time, but Sanya actually explained it in a very professional way. She was not antagonizing you. She explained it in a way so that she can talk, and that you and Marlo can stop trying to talk over each other, because Kandi wouldn't let Marlo speak. So it's just basically Kandi is listening to herself run her mouth all the time, and she doesn't want to listen to what Marlo is saying. So what Sanya was saying was, well, Kandi, this is what I've been told. And Kandi became really, combative. She's basically telling Sanya to shut up. I don't need you to explain nothing for her. It's just like, hey, this is crazy. Real Housewives of Atlanta used to be a really cool show to watch. Now, I don't know, but allegedly, Kandi is ghetto. Everybody is saying that she's ghetto. Remember when she came on season 2, Nene said she was ghetto, and she acts very ghetto. The bottom line is, Kandi girl, you're not Gucci. Why are you going to a Gucci event? You're not Gucci. You cannot get along with people. You want to run stuff. You want people to basically do whatever you say. And word on the street is that's how Kandi handles her real friends. Like, that is how she handles her real friends. If you see who her real friends are, that's the word on the street is how she deals with her real friends. So we are finally seeing the real Kandi Burruss and how she really acts. Originally, when she came on the show, she was supposedly this nice, person, and we were hearing things. Nene told us stuff, Phaedra told us stuff, and we are finally seeing who Kandi Burruss is. But guess what? If you ever want to know who a woman is, meet her mother. So if you meet Mama Joyce, Mama Joyce from the streets, Miss I know everything, I want to run your marriage. That's her mama. So Kandi is a mess. She is a mess. And my takeaway from this particular this last episode is, it was some good things, and obviously it was some bad things, because I just don't like to see women that old, damn near your 50s, late 40s, bullying another woman. So I thought that was just so poor taste. And then to try to, Kenya, to try to talk to Marlo as if she was trash. But Kenya, you're behaving like trash. You are behaving like the acne on your face, Kenya. Like, come on now. So I just wanted, again, to come back and talk about that and kind of give you some more dialogue and kind of go over my notes, because as I stated originally, my computer was acting bad. And always, remember that everything in the video is alleged. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Talk to you later.